Okay, guys, today we're checking out the first time Americans living abroad realized that America really messed them up. And this is part 6. So we've been on this train for a little while. So I'm going to see what they have to say. The link for this in the description below. TikTok Reacts is where I'm getting it from. Let's get into this video because I want to find out what these Americans think about when they get abroad, how they realize America really messed them up. Here we go now.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
I got one.
Okay.
I moved to Italy about a month ago, and my roommate is from Spain, and we were talking about things to do outside since the weather was getting nicer, like rent bikes, take walks, and she said we should have a shooting. And I said, a what? She said, a shooting. Like, let's go have a shooting. I was like, and she was like, yeah, like, let's go get dressed up and take some cute pictures by like the canals or something. Pictures.
Oh, it's the word. Let's go have some shoot. I get it. See, her brain went left. Yeah, shooting means something different in another country. It's that simple. Her brain went left. Oh, let's go dress up. That's interesting. That's a good one.
In the US, I could not let my 11-year-old son go outside and play by himself. Someone would call the cops or something would legitimately happen to him. And so there was no way. And when I moved to Germany, my husband, who's a German national, suggested that he go outside and play by himself because we would not have to worry.
I'm not living abroad anymore, but I was from 2010 to 2011. I was living in Uppsala, Sweden, which is like about 45 minutes north of Stockholm. And this was before any major civil unrest was happening in the country or Trump or anything. This was like 10 years ago. I was out with friends and we started talking about how this Swedish girl happened to have cancer and how it's completely taken care of by their government. All of her health care, all of her bills are paid for. The odds are that she will definitely get over cancer. So I go up to my 2 friends, one from Australia, one from Canada, and I say, oh my God, you guys, did you hear? She has cancer and the government's completely taking care of all of her bills. Isn't that amazing? Like, oh my God. And then my friends replied, Sabrin, you realize that you are the weird ones. Americans are the only ones that don't have that program. That was the first of many moments where I was embarrassed to be an American.
Embarrassed is an understatement. I still cannot wrap my head around that one when it comes on to healthcare or people here are suffering. People are dying because they don't have access to healthcare because they do not have any health insurance. The government don't give a snap rats about nobody. Those one always open my eyes because I'm like, how? If other countries can do it, why America that say they're the greatest person on earth and the freest country in the world cannot do something like that? They just don't want to because it's $1 billion industry when it comes on to yeah, and I can keep yapping and yapping. Yeah. When she said her 9-year-old son, there's some places here in the US, a lot of places where your kid cannot go outside and play at all. Here, my kids are outside playing right now. 3-year-old boy, and I can see them from where I'm sitting here in my living room, but my 10-year-old and 9-year-old can walk outside and play we don't have to be stressing and nobody calling and they don't have to be worrying. But I'm in Alaska and where I'm at is okay, but it depends on where you're living. So I know the feeling with that one. Well, I can understand what she's saying about that one.
It's not current, but when I was studying in the UK, one day I really needed to see a doctor, but I didn't know how to access care. I didn't know what my insurance situation was like, so I just went to work. And eventually I was in so much pain that I burst into tears and my boss pulled me aside. And he was like, what's up? And I was like, I really need to see a doctor, but I don't know how to access care here. I don't know if I can afford it. And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Go down the street to the hospital. And I argued with him. And he was like, no, just trust me. Just go to the hospital. So I went and I was like clutching my student ID in my hand, my passport. And I was like trying to remember how much I had in my bank account, like checking. And I got called back to the doctor. He was like, yeah, this is what's wrong with you. Pick up your prescription on the way out. And I was like, I'm sorry, do you know how much it's going to be? And he said, I don't know, maybe 8 pounds. I was like, I'm sorry, 8? He was like, yeah, I don't think it's ever more than that. The receptionist kept laughing at me because I didn't feel comfortable leaving without paying somebody. And I kept asking if I owed anybody any money.
So these ones to me, wow, mind blowing. Can you imagine? Here you're sick. Somebody'd rather drive you home and tell you to go to the doctor or tell you to even go have a doctor's. It's crazy. I'm like, the more you look at this video, you're like, America is so backward. It's backward.
I don't live in Europe, but I was visiting relatives in the UK a couple of years ago, and my inhaler got
£8 for prescription. Unheard of.
destroyed. They convinced me to talk to the pharmacist first before seeing a doctor in case I didn't need to. And the pharmacist said, yes, of course, we can refill this for you. No problem. It's a life-saving medication. And I'm like, great. And the pharmacist says, I did want to warn you, though. I'm very sorry. The price has gone up. And I'm just thinking the worst. And he says, yes, I'm very sorry. It's going to be £8.80. I said, £8.80. And he said, yeah, it's going to be £8.80. I'm really sorry. The prices just keep going up. And that is when I realized that the U.S. health insurance system is well and truly because that £8.80 prescription in the UK with really good health insurance costs me $50 per inhaler in the United States for a medication I need to literally live. So yeah.
£8.80 for an inhaler. And she's saying the price has gone up. She over there about shitting her pants because she's like, okay, what are we talking about there? What ballpark number are you talking about? Can you imagine sitting there and hearing £8.80 just for a prescription? And this is amazing. Your pharmacist can help you out before you even have to go to the actual doctor to see. Are you serious? Like, seriously? That's amazing. That's unheard of. Period. Unheard of.
Buckle up, kids. This one's going to hurt.
Uh-huh.
So I just moved to Italy with my boyfriend who is Italian.
Okay.
Going through all of his old paperwork today, and he showed me a bill from the hospital when he cut his hand open pretty badly and had to get stitches. It cost €4, which is the equivalent of $4.50. I am back for round 2 on this.
Hold up. $4 to go to the doctor, cut stitches, $4.50 US. Wow.
One. So I just moved to Italy with my boyfriend who is Italian. We're watching a movie the other day where somebody is running away and they get shot. And I'm like, you know what? That's their fault. They didn't run in a zigzag. That's like the first thing they teach you, to run in a zigzag if somebody's pointing a gun at you.
Yep.
He pauses the movie and he looks at me and he goes, who taught you that? And I'm like, like teachers, adults, parents, like they teach you when you're young to run in a zigzag if somebody is pointing a gun at you. The sinking feeling I had when I realized that nobody ever had to teach him that when he was young, because that's not a problem here.
So
wow. That you are taught that as a kid, and that is sad, and it's disheartening to know that as you have to tell a kid if somebody runs zigzag. I've never taught my kid that, but when she said that, I've heard people talk about it with their kids, and to me, it's crazy. That's the norm. Kids are taught to run in a zigzag pattern if they see somebody with a pow-pow, because it's harder for them to give you a bullet to come your way, to get shot. How sad is that? How sad is that? Kids in other countries are not taught that because that's not the case where they're from.
Another thing that I think about a lot is I have German friends, Dutch friends, Polish friends, and they all went on class trips to concentration camps when they were like 8 years old. Whereas in the US, I never learned anything about the Native Americans, like what really happened, until I took a Native American studies class in college. They are sitting there learning about, and they like use the word genocide. They tell them we committed genocide against the Jews here in Europe. And in the US, they're like, natives helped us move onto their land and they just kind of moved away so we could settle. And they don't teach us anything about the Dawes Act. They don't teach us anything about the Stolen Sisters. They don't teach us anything about how Columbus wiped out an entire island in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, they don't teach us about the smallpox blankets and the cholera and everything at all.
So you're telling me at 8 years old, your kids in your country, in Germany, he said Germany and not other countries, he has friends who tell him, look, at 8-year-old, these kids are learning the truth about their country, what happened, what took place, what they did. And at an 8-year-old right now here in the US, they're being buffered. They don't go to trips to, no, ain't nobody taking them to the historical about no natives and none. Oh no, you're going to the zoo, you're going to the landfill, you're going to learn about the plants in the back. 8-year-old, you guys teach 8-year-old about, that's amazing. That's awesome. If you want to know these stuff about history and about outside and all of it, you got to do it for yourself here in the US. Yeah.
I'm from Chicago, and I moved to Denmark when I was like 14, and I've been in public school ever since I moved here. And I remember this one time I was with my friends, and this was probably like the first 6 months of my first year at school here. And I was just like, we haven't had an intruder drill yet. Like, when are we going to have one of those? And they were just like, what is an intruder drill? What is that? And I had to like explain, like, you know, it's like you're practicing in case someone comes in the school to come like shoot or something. And they're just like, we do not do that here. There is no threat of people coming to kill us. And then I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to be like scared for my life at school in this country. Forgot about that.
Can you imagine that as a kid, you have to worry about something like that in school? Huh? Here in the US, that's the norm. It's not, kids are used to that. It's their way of life. Can you imagine you have to go out into another country to realize life is not like that as a kid?
I was living abroad in the UK, and I had a job interview. And of course, growing up in the US, you're conditioned to dress so professional, be prepared, have your resume, and all these things. So I was like that really much. And I remember walking into the interview, and they were like, oh, wow, you look really snazzy. And I was like, okay, first of all, I've never heard that before at an interview. Then secondly, they didn't even ask me anything besides, hey, Kyle, would you like a cup of tea? And I was like, okay. Never was asked that before ever in any other job interviews. We had a tea, and we literally like sat and talked about all sorts of stuff, personal life, their life. And we just had a laugh for like 45 minutes. And right afterwards, they're like, you're perfect for the job. You fit great. And it was really crazy to me. And it was a really fun experience. I wish the US would just chill out sometimes a little bit more.
So you're telling me on a job interview, you don't have to have that snatch a suit and tie walking in to go get a job. You get offered tea on an interview. They want to know about you. They share a little about them. That's how your guys did that. Let me know in the comment section, because this is not here. Oh no, you're dressed to the coat and you're so serious and you're sweating your rockers off because you don't know what they're going to ask you. You have to have your resume. You have to put on this facade. Even if you don't care, you have to put on this fake self to go get a job here. Yep. Even if you don't want that job, you gotta feed the family or whatever. That's how it runs. You can't relax. Wow.
All right. So when I lived in France, I went to a cafe with my friend, and outside the cafe, there were a whole bunch of baby strollers with human babies inside of the strollers. And I was super freaked out, and I asked my friend, why would anybody leave their babies outside unattended in their strollers? Aren't you afraid of something happening to them? And my friend looked at me and said, why would you assume that anything would happen to a baby? Who would be so horrible to do something to a baby? Yeah.
What? You left your baby in the stroller outside a cafe? You can walk away and leave your baby outside in a stroller outside in a cafe in France. Are you serious? Like what? You don't. Okay, now. Okay.
I live in Warsaw, Poland now, but I always stay in touch with what's happening in the US. And I happened to hear about that Las Vegas shooting when someone opened fire on a bunch of concert goers. And it was very tragic news. But that day, I also went to the movies. So I was already in a kind of weird mental state. And when I left the movies, I got on the tram again in Warsaw, and I saw this guy kind of being sketchy and acting weird in the last seat. I kept eyeing him the whole time, and he had his jacket open and he was holding something inside. He was hiding it. And I thought, my first American thought was it's a gun or a knife or some kind of weapon, and I need to move away as soon as possible. So I kept looking at him the whole ride, and then he takes it out, and it was a beer can. He was sipping it and hiding it during the tram ride. That's what happens in Poland. Not guns, not knives. And I started crying and laughing at the same time because that's when I realized, wow, that's messed up.
Can you believe that? You're in such fear, what you've been accustomed to. You're eyeing everybody. Can you imagine how uncomfortable that passenger was with her, just kept staring at him, not knowing what is going on because he's in a trench coat and he's in a hand is in his jacket. You don't know what's going on. You're thinking negative because that's what you're used to. That is messed up. And you can see how mental it is when you go outside of the US and live somewhere else and you realize this is not normal. This is not okay. This shouldn't be okay. I shouldn't be living like this in fear constantly. Wow.
I duetted this TikTok about a year ago, and I still stand by the fact that like we're significantly dumber in the States. It's a lot different here, but they learn so much more about life and things around us than we ever did. But another thing that I've noticed is people are so dependent in the States, especially like parents, I think, are more dependent and like feel the need to be in their child's lives more. Here, I'm sure they're great parents. I mean, 90% of the kids are super good, but like fourth graders are getting on the tram in the morning. Their parents are kissing them bye, saying peace out, not the school bus, the tram. What? And you know what? At night, they get back on the tram and they figure out their way home. Like the parents are not as like involved in the kids' lives and they're so independent. But even like at home in the States, even me, who's almost 20 years old, like I'm still dependent on my mom.
Okay, so
No, that one have me on my toe. 4-year-old taking a tram by themselves. That's scary. Sorry, guys. But she's right. We are like hover parents. And a 4, that's a sense. You're giving like, ooh, I don't know. But you go, I think when you live somewhere, you get used to how somewhere operate and you realize the safety is there and the kids will be okay. So that's the difference. So I'm open. I have an open mind to that, but
moved to Sweden. And when I got here, I wasn't feeling too well, so I went to the doctor, and the doctor recommended that I get an EKG, an electrocardiogram. Instead of worrying about my health, my first reaction was, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can get one of those because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it.
Yep.
And this sweet little man, sweet, amazing doctor goes, did you not pay the like $20 when you got here? I ended up getting a regular EKG, a 24-hour long EKG, a blood test, and a freaking checkup for $20. What? Best part of this entire situation is that I am getting better and I am getting the medical attention I need without going broke.
It's an understatement. Indeed. $20 EKG, 24-hour EKG, getting medication, being seen, getting everything you need, and you're not going broke. Unheard of in the US, only in other countries. I tell you, this operate like a third world country. Even third world country behaving way better than how the US behave when it comes to medical care. Can you imagine that? You go to the doctor and you start sweating, you start panicking, you rather go home and die because you don't want to end up in debt. You're going to have to sell your car, your house, live on the street, or leave debt on your family. So instead of doing all of that, you rather kin over. You rather say, listen, no, bury me 6 feet under because I don't have the money to take care. That's crazy. That's mental. $20 to get an EKG covers that. Are you serious? $8 to get your asthma pump. Where? In the US? How? When? $4 to get stitches. £4, £8, £20, €20. This is crazy. You don't have to worry about gun violence at all. Crazy, unheard of. I'm telling you, the more I watch these, the more I'm telling you, it's America really mess you up when you listen to these people. You realize you're messed up. You really messed up the way this country is run. You really get so accustomed to the way of life here that you are messed up as they come when you go outside. You realize that is not the norm, and it's sad and it's disheartening, and I still can't get over these healthcare stuff or going to the doctor. You're not being broke, or you don't have to sell your house or mortgage this or do that, and college and medical bill and going to work and sick, and they're telling you to go to the doctor or giving you time off. Ooh, baby kids having a sense of independence. Kids can play outside and you don't have to stress. You can send your kids to school. There's no Amber. They don't have to be trained to, you know what? You tell the kids to go run left and right because if ability is coming, it's harder to catch. Guys, you can see this one. Got me. Yeah. Ooh. A lot of Americans are realizing that America really messed them up when they go and live abroad. American living abroad. They're realizing that. That's for sure. Ooh, it's the island girl, and I'm running out of here. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comment section. Let me hear your experiences in the comment section, because guys, I'm telling you, mind blown, like seriously. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let me know if you want me to check out more videos like those or similar to these. Leave it in the comment section. Love you guys to the max, and I'll catch you guys in another one. Bye.